Nottingham Forest vs Fenerbahce. This is the kind of match where tempo decides everything. Nottingham Forest at home prefer controlled aggression. They don't immediately open the game. Instead, they study the opponent's structure in the first phase. Their early minutes are usually cautious, compact, and focused on preventing mistakes rather than forcing opportunities. Fenerbahce approach matches differently. They are comfortable taking initiative away from home. They move the ball quickly through midfield zones and try to stretch defensive lines early. Their objective is to force the opponent to defend facing their own goal rather than sideways. That contrast creates a predictable first-half pattern. The home side holds shape while the visitors circulate possession patiently. The danger for Nottingham Forest is allowing too many progressive passes without interruption. Once defensive lines start retreating instead of stepping forward, pressure becomes constant. Eventually spaces appear between midfield and defense. This is where the match begins to tilt. Fenerbahce become more confident and commit more numbers forward. The home side will still create moments, especially through transitions. But those chances depend on efficiency rather than volume. The visitors, however, should generate repeated attacking sequences. Over 90 minutes, repeated pressure usually produces goals. Even if the home team responds, maintaining defensive resistance for the entire match becomes difficult. Prediction: Fenerbahce win. Correct score: 1-3. Bologna vs Brann. This game will be defined by patience rather than intensity. Bologna are structured in their approach. They rarely rush forward in the opening phase. Instead, they focus on positioning and circulating possession safely before increasing risk levels. Their aim is to slowly disorganize defensive lines rather than break them instantly. Brann are expected to defend deeper and protect central areas first. They will attempt to deny space between lines and force the home side into wide areas. Matches like this often become tactical chess rather than open football. The first half may have limited chances. Bologna will control territory but not necessarily create many shots early. The visitors will accept that situation as long as the score remains level. The difference usually appears in the second half. As concentration drops and defensive distances grow slightly wider, passing lanes open. A single well-constructed move can decide the match. Because Bologna sustain pressure for long periods, probability favors them eventually finding that decisive moment. Prediction: Bologna win or draw. Correct score: 1-0. Stuttgart vs Celtic. This is expected to be the most open match of the group. Both teams prefer attacking transitions rather than prolonged defensive phases. Instead of slowing the game, they accelerate it. When possession is regained, forward movement begins immediately. That style rarely produces cautious football. It produces momentum swings. One team scores, the other responds. Defensive lines push higher and spaces appear behind them. Midfield control becomes less important than speed of attack. Because both sides are comfortable committing players forward, counterattacks become extremely dangerous. The match should constantly shift from one penalty area to the other. In matches like this, defensive organization matters less than attacking efficiency. Even structured defenses struggle because the number of transitions increases dramatically. As the game progresses, fatigue stretches distances between lines. Late goals become very likely. Prediction: both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. Correct score: 3-3. Ferencvaros vs Ludogorets. This fixture feels more balanced than it appears. Ferencvaros at home usually attempt early control. They push defensive lines slightly higher and attempt to impose rhythm through possession. Their goal is to prevent the opponent from settling into the match. Ludogorets are comfortable absorbing pressure initially. They prefer to observe patterns before committing forward. Once they understand the pressing triggers, they begin progressing more confidently. That usually produces a match with two phases. Early territorial control for the home side, followed by a more even second half. The key moment often comes when defensive concentration drops after halftime adjustments. The first team to adapt tactically gains advantage. Ferencvaros should create more chances overall, but the visitors are capable of responding once the match opens. Prediction: Ferencvaros win or draw. Correct score: 2-1. Genk vs Dinamo Zagreb. This is likely to be a controlled and tactical contest. Genk prefers structured build-up and organized pressing. They do not overcommit numbers forward, keeping balance between attack and defense. Their matches often depend on discipline rather than chaos. Dinamo Zagreb are equally composed. They rarely lose positional shape and prefer calculated attacks instead of risky transitions. Because both teams value structure, the game may progress cautiously. The opening stages should be careful, with neither side taking major risks. Midfield battles will focus on positioning rather than tackling intensity. Clear chances may be limited. As the match continues, both teams may create isolated opportunities rather than sustained pressure. That makes scoring possible for either side but repeated goals unlikely. Prediction: Genk win or draw. Correct score: 1-1. After breaking down all the fixtures, we now summarize the strongest expectations from today's analysis. Starting with the more open encounter, Nottingham Forest against Fenerbahce looks like a game where sustained attacking pressure should eventually make the difference. The visitors are expected to create more chances across the 90 minutes and should have enough attacking consistency to secure the result. Prediction: Fenerbahce win. Expected score: 1-3. In the more controlled tactical matchup between Bologna and Brann, patience is likely to decide the outcome. The home side should maintain territorial advantage and eventually convert one of their structured attacks. Prediction: Bologna win or draw. Expected score: 1-0. Stuttgart against Celtic stands out as the most explosive contest of the fixtures. Both teams play forward quickly and leave spaces behind, which usually produces multiple goals and constant momentum swings. Prediction: both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. Expected score: 3-3. Ferencvaros vs Ludogorets appears balanced but slightly favors the home team due to sustained pressure phases and home control during key periods of the match. Prediction: Ferencvaros win or draw. Expected score: 2-1. Finally, Genk against Dinamo Zagreb looks like a disciplined and structured encounter where neither side takes excessive risks. That kind of game often finishes level with limited but important chances. Prediction: Genk win or draw. Expected score: 1-1.